As the movie opens, we see two hikers lost in the woods, their cell phones malfunctioning. Up ahead, a woman appears through the fog. She bolts toward them preternaturally. She is convulsing and appears injured. Trying to help, the man goes to her, but she grabs him by the head, attempting to do something terrible to him. What is going on? The film goes on to tell the story of how it all began. Meet the masculine and proud driver Blasco and his old van for hire. He has just picked up his first passenger, Mariella. Lydia and her daughter Marta soon join. Blasco shows Lydia his sword and claims he was once a bullfighter and that is how he hurt his eye. Lydia thinks that it is cruel to the bulls and rebuffs Blasco's attempts to impress her. The mother and daughter relationship seems strained, and after some arguing, the daughter sits up front with Blasco. The two women sit together in the back while Blasco attempts conversation, even flirting a bit with Marta. At first, the girl behaves aloof and insolent towards Blasco. She accuses him of lying about being a bullfighter, then reveals burn scars all over her face and neck. The woman in back begin complaining about the glass partition separating front and back seats. These ladies are opinionated feminists, while Blasco is traditional machismo. Blasco states feminists are just women out to seek revenge. It is evident they do not like Blasco. Lydia and Mariella conspire to write a bad review about him. When Lydia asks Marta for some sweets, Blasco shows them there is a flap connecting the front and back for passing things. We learn that Lydia is dropping her daughter off to live with her father so she can pursue a career in another country. Her father is the one who caused all the burn scars on her body. Along the way, the teenager Marta converses and jokes around with Blasco. The two are becoming fast friends and bonding. As night befalls, they stop to investigate a smoking crash on the side of the road. It appears to be some sort of spacecraft. A throbbing white ooze is nearby, seemingly alive. Marta extends her arm to touch the mass, then a needle-like entity shoots out and pricks her index finger. Lydia tries to give comfort, but Marta rejects her. Mariella's wig shifts, revealing her bald head. Lydia correctly guesses that she has cancer and asks about it. Mariella states she is a nurse and does not want pity and asks her not to mention it. Marta is staring at her finger and she goes into a catatonic state. In the commotion of trying to rouse her, the van swerves, hitting something in the road. Although Blasco wants to keep going, Mariella screams that it could be a person and they must go back to provide assistance. They find a woman in the road, her face is distorted and she is unresponsive. Blasco tries to call for help, but his phone flashes and burns. They decide to take her to the nearest hospital some distance away. Mariella tries to communicate, but the victim remains still. Lydia and Blasco argue loudly while throwing personal insults back and forth. In the back, the strange woman opens her eyes and begins attacking Mariella. While holding her down, a long tongue-like appendage protrudes from her mouth and goes into the struggling Mariella. Meanwhile, the quarrel between Lydia and Blasco escalates as Marta yells at her mother to be quiet, turning up the music so no one can hear anything else. Now subdued, Mariella is covered in slime, her bald head all lumpy, eyes glazed over, and she herself begins to transform into something not quite human. Mariella then begins attacking Lydia. No one notices with the music so loud. Suddenly, a lump of flesh splats on the partition and they spot Mariella assaulting Lydia. They stop the van and Blasco and Marta open the back door to save her. Before Mariella can get her snake-like tongue into Lydia, Blasco rescues her. He pounds Mariella's head with his guitar until she's out. Locking her in the van, he and the mother-daughter team run away. They watch the van rocking. Suddenly, the Mariella monster busts out, lands on all fours, and in a crab-like way, sprints after them. Lydia surmises that Mariella's body was taken over by a parasite living inside her. Since she has cancer, she hopes the creature will not survive there. Blasco suggests they split up. It would increase their chance to survive, so they do. Blasco climbs a tree. Lydia is cutting off the worm-like creature from Marta's finger. The monster prowls under the tree, sniffing out Blasco, but then hears Marta scream in the distance and takes off in search of them. She pounces on their flashlight, but the mother and daughter have already escaped and are hiding nearby. Realizing Mariella will attack whoever is nearer, Lydia tells her daughter they must separate. Marta pleads with her mother to stay together and tells her how much she loves her. Lydia professes her love in return and promises she will try to find her again. She reluctantly walks away crying while Lydia hides behind a tree. Marta stumbles on Blasco in the forest. He has fallen and hit his head. The creature is lurking in the mist and bellowing into the air nearby. They both hear a scream in the distance, for Mariella has caught Lydia. Blasco insists they leave immediately, but Marta refuses and stays to help her mother. Blasco takes the van and begins driving off, begging the child to get in. When Marta sees someone scurrying toward her, she jumps in the car and they drive away. En route, they figure out that what crashed in the road was probably a UFO, and an alien parasite creature enters people, taking over their mind and body. The van is leaking fuel, and the next petrol station is 15 kilometers away. They almost make it, but then the van dies, and they push it the remaining way to the gas station. As they arrive, the attendant is not there, so Blasco tells Marta to wait in the car while he walks to town to siphon off gas. Marta sees in the rearview mirror that her mother has caught up to them and has transformed into a monster. Marta ducks down, but peers out the window and sees the gas attendant return. Lydia approaches, then immediately pounces on him. They struggle, and she kills him. She turns now to seek out Marta. She continues to lurk about the van her daughter has hidden underneath. She rocks and pushes it. When Blasco returns, Marta tells him they have to leave right away because the thing that has taken control of her mother has found them. While driving, Marta is wary of Blasco, who is coughing and grunting. She thinks that he may be hosting the alien inside him. She asks him questions, and they decide to come up with a secret word to share, indicating they have not been attacked and parasitized and are indeed themselves. Blasco is feeling ill from his head injury, so Marta attends to his wound. All the while, we see that Lydia is hitching a ride on their van. She begins pounding on the roof, trying to get in. Blasco slams the brakes real hard, and Lydia tumbles to the road. He then backs up, runs over her, and backs up again, crushing the monster. As they pull away, Lydia gets up and straightens herself out and pursues them once again. It is not over, but Blasco and Marta smile with relief as they drive toward the next town. Suddenly feeling dizzy and dehydrated, Blasco pulls over. As he is losing consciousness, he sees Lydia staring at them from behind the glass and announces her return and faints. The bottle of water is in the back, so Marta must sneak around her mother, who has only a dull, insight-like awareness in order to save Blasco. Marta creeps in between her legs as ectoplasmic slime is dripping from her. Blasco slouches on the horn and it starts blaring. This makes Lydia pound her head against the glass. She finds the flap in between the seats and sends her tentacle appendage through it and begins attacking Blasco. Marta saves him by using the lighter to burn the tentacle. As he drinks water, Blasco regains his strength. Lydia watches the two comfort each other and smashes her head against the passenger window, thus breaking the glass. Marta calls her mom and hopes that Lydia will recognize her, but only the parasite in her remains. Lydia grabs her arm and starts pulling her out of the van, so Blasco speeds away and Lydia quickly runs after. She catches up and hops into the van, thrusting herself about. She breaks through the partition and is trying to kill Marta. Blasco decides the only way to save Marta is to give up on his van, so he accelerates and crashes into a tree. The van is crushed and flipped over. Blasco searches for Marta. Relieved to have found her, he pulls her out of the wreckage. She mutters Pasadobel, their secret word. She is stunned but uninjured. They slowly walk away when Lydia's tongue shoots out from the van and drags Marta back. Just then, Blasco calls her attention and tells her to come after him. He is extending a yellow blanket like a matador and backing away. He teases her, she lunges for him and misses, only to jump back and thrust him to the ground. She is pushing her alien tongue when Marta stabs her from behind with the sword, thus killing the shell of what was once Lydia. As Blasco and Marta limp away, the alien creature emerges and starts squirming and squealing. The two come back and take a spray can, ignite the fuel like a blowtorch, and burn the screeching creature to death. The tape of Paso Robles' Spanish March is playing inside the van. Happy that they are finally safe and rid of the alien monsters, Blasco asks Marta to share one dance as the van plays their song. They walk all night to their destination and arrive at a restaurant where Blasco says he will have himself a drink. The place is deserted as though everyone left suddenly. While Blasco pours himself a wine and Marta uses the bathroom, he comments that this is a happy ending after all. But not so soon, for there is a body behind the bar, and as Marta stares in the mirror, her finger takes on a life of its own as slime from above pours all over it. Sitting at the bar, about to enjoy a drink and smoke, Blasco looks up to see distorted and transformed women enter the room, and behind them is Marta. As she gazes at him, her eyes gloss over, revealing she too is now one of them. Blasco looks into the mirror and drinks a toast to himself. What do you think about this movie? Do you think Blasco survives? Let us know in the comments below.
Thanks for watching.